to all of you to this Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference 2026, and welcome to this maritime sector session on Gujarat as emerging shipbuilding hub, investment prospects, policy enablers, and capacity expansion. We welcome you all to this session. Gujarat has an important role in India's maritime journey. With the longest coastline, robust port infrastructure, and a progressive future ready maritime policy framework, Gujarat continues to emerge as a global hub for ports, shipbuilding, logistics, and the blue economy. We are privileged to have dignitaries here. We take this opportunity to welcome esteemed dignitaries on the dais. May I request Dr. Ajay Kumar, Vice Chairman and CEO GMB, to welcome Shri Harit Shukla, Principal Secretary in charge Port and Transport. Welcome, sir. May I request Shri B.B. Talavia, Chief Engineer GMB, to welcome Dr. Ajay Kumar, Vice Chairman and CEO GMB. We also request you to welcome Shri Sushil Kumar Singh, IRSME Chairman, DPA, Deen Dayal Port Authority. Welcome, sir. And with that, we once again
has continued till now. No, back. So, next. So this tradition continues, and we are proud to say that first maritime board of the India was established in 1981 by the Gujarat state, under which we have unified all the non-major ports, and the regulation and development of these ports in environmental sustainable manner has been started. Now we are on the path of from port developer to the enabler of the whole maritime ecosystem. The major milestones over a time during our maritime legacy journey, which we have completed after establishment of maritime boards, are the Alang CPR, which is the one of the world largest, which we established in 1983. After that, first private port in Pipavav has been established. First port-based grassroots refinery at Sikka has come up, and then the first chemical terminal at the Dahej has come in 2001. So there are many first which we want to continue in the near future also, and want to keep the leadership in the maritime sector for the future. As you all know, about two-thirds of the trade of the non-major port cargo has already been handled by the our Gujarat state, and also 41% of the total cargo of the export and import is also handled through the Gujarat ports. In the line with the maritime Amritkal vision of 2047 and the Indian maritime vision of 2030, Gujarat Maritime Board has made its vision very clear and started taking initiative that will be helpful in achieving those. One of the major vision of the Gujarat Maritime Board is to achieve the 3,000 million metric ton of the capacity of the ports, to which is in the line of the overall Amrit Kal vision of achieving 7,500 million metric ton of the cargo handling. And also we are coming up with a shipbuilding and recycling policy, which is the topic of today's seminar. And in that also we want to increase our capacity to the 9 lakh LDT. There are many policy which has already been declared. Some are in the pipeline, and in the coming few months, we want to come up with a number of policy which will facilitate the investment and make our ecosystem more vibrant. Gujarat as a shipbuilding destination. I am very happy to inform you, all of you present here, is that we have already, government of Gujarat has already approved in principle the shipbuilding and the repair policy of the Gujarat, which will complement the government of India efforts in making India as one of the destination for the shipbuilding. Gujarat aims to enhance its overall shipbuilding capacity to the 9 LDT by 2047. Next. Back. At present, everybody knows that the major share is captured by the China, South Korea, and the Japan. And we are distant 17th and 20th position for the ship ownership and the shipbuilding. By 2047, we want to be in the top 5, and I'm sure that the policy which we are going to unveil in very few days, which will help us in achieving these targets. Under this shipbuilding policy, we identified 2 shipbuilding clusters, one at Chachi, Kutch, and one at the Kuchdi in the Porbandar. Chachi shipbuilding cluster has the land area identified of 990 hectares with a very good waterfront of 6.75 kilometer. Also, in at the Kuchdi, next, we have 870 hectare identified land and 7 kilometer of the waterfront. 10 meter draft is only about 900 meter away from the coastline, and we have very good vibrant ecosystem which will help us in developing the MSME industrial base for the shipbuilding sector. Next, I already told you about the Chachi. This waterfront of 8.75 kilometer and the area which is about 870 hectare is also a very good location where we want to invite all of you for the shipbuilding sector. To complement Government of India efforts for developing shipbuilding ecosystems, lot of deliberation and consultation has taken place with all the stakeholders, and after this detailed deliberation, we are coming up with our policy in which we want to give the capital assistance for the common infrastructure development, for the also for the shipbuilding. In addition to this, 100% stamp duty exemption, electricity duty subsidies, water charges subsidy will also be given. Next, to further give the details, capital assistance which we are planning to provide in our shipbuilding and repair policy is up to 100 crore for the standalone shipyards and up to 150 crores if shipyard is establishing its unit in our identified clusters. There is also an offer for the early bird, means if work order is issued within the issuance of the policy within the 12 months and the work started within the 24 months and if completed after the starting of the work within the 3 years, then this incentive will increase by 5%. Means for the standalone shipyard, the assistance will increase from 100 to 150 crores, and for the shipbuilding, which are coming in our clusters, it will increase from 150 to 225 crores. In addition to this, shipyard maritime equipment cluster is also proposed, for which we are giving a assistance of 25 crores. But for early birds, the assistance, maximum assistance which can be given is 37.5 crores. Next. Other incentive which I told in brief are the 100% exemption for the stamp duty, interest subvention of 7%, and the dredging assistance of 50% with a maximum limit of 10 crore, and payroll salary, which is very important. The employee which you are going to employ there we want to give an assistance of 10,000 per annum for the 10 years, in the first 10 years. And to reduce the operational cost, we have proposed to give a subsidy of 1 rupees per unit and 50% of the water charges for the first 5 years. Next. There, in addition to this, there are supports for the R&D center, skill development centers, for the training, for research and development, and the subsidies which I already told about the electricity and stamp duty. Also 5% subsidy will be given if the goods and services are sourced from the MSME sector. In addition to the common infrastructure, the common infrastructure will be developed through SPV in the cluster, and we are thankful to the government of India, which has agreed to become our partner, and a SPV has been formed with a 50-50% contribution, where the 50% will be held by the Gujarat Maritime Board, and on the behalf of government of Gujarat, and on the behalf of government of India, 50% in the SPV will be held by the Deen Dayal Port Authority, Kandla. So this SPV will develop the common infrastructure in these clusters and provide all the basic facility. And after that, shipbuilding units can start their shipbuilding, and for that, government of India is giving lot of incentive, and we want to top up those incentive with our incentive. For the small ships up to 8%, and for the specialized ship up to 10% of the total cost of the ship, with a maximum limit of 50 crore on the government of Gujarat side. And whereas the government of India is providing for the 10 and 15% for the total cost of the shipbuilding. So this forward-looking policy, which has already been approved by the government, and which will come into the force with the complete guidelines in the very few days, I want to request everyone to look into it and request to take the benefit of the early bird offer and try to establish as early as possible in Gujarat. As you know, we have the best infrastructure, best port connectivity, which will help us, which will help you in establishing at the shortest possible time. And also, I will request that if you will establish in the cluster, then all the basic facility will be provided in the beginning only. So, and we are already a leader, and we want to maintain the leadership position in the at least in the India. And shipbuilding is the one sector where we are lagging as a India, and we want to make our country a leader in the shipbuilding sector also. With a request for all of you to take benefit of this scheme, and also after this the panel discussion which will take place, where we will take note of the concern or any concern raised by you for the successful implementation of this scheme. We would certainly help you and give you a red carpet so that the scheme will lead to the successful implementation. Thanks all of you. Thank you.
So, thank you, sir, for that insightful overview of Gujarat's maritime ecosystem and for highlighting the Gujarat scenario. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have a distinguished leader who brings vast experience in infrastructure, ports, and maritime governance. May I invite Sri Sushil Kumar, IRSME Chairman DPA, to deliver his address. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Dignitaries on the dais, delegates from industry, from financing institutions, innovators, supply chain segment, fraternity, friends from press and media, ladies and gentlemen. I feel privileged to be a part of this gathering today, where we have all assembled to discuss, deliberate, and look for options and ways to become a participant in the growth story of this region, the Kutch and Saurashtra, and through this, for our contribution towards the development of the state of Gujarat and ultimately to the country. As we all know that the state of Gujarat will be playing a very important role, a very pivotal role in contributing towards achieving the objectives set by our Honorable Prime Minister under the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. And in that, this region of Kutch and Saurashtra will act as a growth engine which will be powering or driving the economic and commercial development of this region and therefore contribute to the development of the state and the country. Having got this opportunity, I will take this platform to share some of the information on various projects that Kandla Port is taking up as a part of the overall development and as a part of enhancing and strengthening the maritime port sector in the state of Gujarat. And the idea and the objective of this sharing this information would be for all of you to look for an opportunity to become a part of the ecosystem or the part of the growth strategy that we are planning at Kandla. To be short, I'll be mentioning about two important sectors in which Kandla is taking the lead. Number one is the green hydrogen segment. So, as you all know, under the National Green Hydrogen Mission, Kandla Port has been declared as one of the green hydrogen hubs. And as a part of green or decarbonization of the maritime sector, as a part of energy transition towards cleaner fuel, greener fuels, and greener molecules, we have already taken some of the initiatives, which include allotment of big land parcels to major industry players like L&T, Reliance, AM Greens, Wellspun. And the vision is, or the target is to produce around 5 million tons per annum of green ammonia by 2030. So, while we wait for the major industries to start their activities there, Kandla Port has adopted a pilot project based approach where the port itself has taken upon itself to develop small modular technology demonstration projects in which we have already commissioned 1 megawatt green hydrogen project at Kandla, and that is the first megawatt scale green hydrogen production facility developed in the country at any of the port, and it is indigenously designed under Make in India by L&T. The other initiative that we have taken is we are the first port to place an order for production of 5 tons per day of biomethanol. So, as a part of moving towards greener fuel, as you all know, there is a projection that by 2030, around 200 vessels would be plying between Singapore and Rotterdam, which would be compatible with dual fuel. So, they will be compatible for methanol as a fuel. So, Kandla Port, is trying to position itself as one of the potential bunker suppliers for green fuels to these ships. Now, when the ships start calling at this port for fuels like methanol or green ammonia, they'll be bringing in cargo also. They'll be having a multiplier effect across the supply chain, and this will also trigger a kind of economic growth and development in the region. So the idea is to develop a supply chain for green fuels also at Kandla, and in that the first step has already been taken. A 5 ton per day biomethanol production plant has been awarded to Thermex from Pune, so they will be setting up this facility within next 8 months. The third is under the Green Initiative, Kandla Port is the first port in the country to have started with the production of first green tug, all electric green tug. So that again is a first in the country type of initiative that has been taken. Similarly, we are the first port to adopt the magnetic levitation based pods for improving the productivity and efficiency of evacuation from the port, cargo evacuation from the port. So a number of steps are being taken, and we are trying to develop port as a green hydrogen ecosystem or a green ammonia ecosystem or a methanol ecosystem there at Kandla Port, and we would be inviting all the industry players, startups, innovators, financing institutions, research organizations to come in there, have a dialogue with us, and we are there to support you with your proposals, your concepts. We can take it up as a pilot project, we can take it up as a full scale commercial project. The other vertical in which Kandla Port is taking lead is the shipbuilding. The theme for today is shipbuilding, and as you all know that the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister under Viksit Bharat 2047 is to position India in the top 10 as a shipbuilding nation by 2030, and within the top 5 by 2047. Now, under that vision, Kandla Port has an advantage of having a huge amount of land parcels available and a waterfront, significant waterfront available, which is still unused. So we are trying to put that resource to good use. We are offering land parcels, we are offering waterfront to the technology partners, to the capable technology partners who are willing to come and set up shipbuilding facility, shipbuilding yard there at Kandla. We'll be supporting them with all basic core infrastructure. We'll be supporting them with subsidies also. We'll be absorbing the cost differential. Will ensure that the project becomes economically or financially viable for the industry partners by cross subsidizing this project, that is the project of shipbuilding, with the project with our cargo operations, the earning and the revenue and the cash flow of our cargo operations. So we are ready to take that, absorb that differential in the cost also, just to promote and trigger this activity there. We also, as Honorable Prime Minister says, shipbuilding is considered as mother of all industries. So if you set up a shipbuilding facility at a place, you are inviting multiple ancillary units or supply chain units who will be handling with the engines, who will be handling with the sheet metal working, who will be handling with the pipings and tubings, pumps, compressors. So a lot of ancillary units will come along with the main unit, and that again will have a huge multiplier effect on the economy of the region. So on the shipbuilding front, we have formulated 2 projects. We have also gone in for the tender. The tender didn't get much traction, so we are in the process of restructuring the project to make it viable, economically and financially viable for the technology partners. We are in touch with the shipbuilders across the world, and we are offering them various incentives and benefits. And now, since the government has come up, central government has come up with a very well-designed comprehensive package of more than 69,700 crores to promote and support shipbuilding activity in the country. So, in line with the policy which has been issued by which approved by the cabinet and issued by Government of India, we are also trying to realign our strategy, our project of shipbuilding, in line with the policy provisions of the Government of India. So I'll not take much time. My idea for using this platform was to share some information on the projects that we are taking up at Kandla, so that it gives an understanding of the kind of projects that we are doing there. And in case any one of you is interested to come up there and try some pilot project, we are there to support you. You can use Kandla Port as the test bed. You can try out your technologies, you can prove out your concepts, and we will supporting you with funds and everything, whatever is possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that highly informative and so thank you for that highly informative and engaging presentation, sir, and your address. And at this juncture, I would like to request Mr. Talavia to present a memento to our honorable dignitaries on the dais. Shri Sushil Kumar, Chairman DPA. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presence and guidance at this occasion. We present a memento to Harit Shukla, sir, Principal Secretary in charge, Ports and Transport. And a memento to our Vice Chairman, Dr. Ajay. So let big actions begin from a small classroom. Gujarat's maritime ecosystem welcomes you all to invest, to grow together, to prosper together. And now moving ahead, we have with us today Mr. Emmanuel L'Oreal, Regional Sales Head, Finton Kerry. Let's have an overview of this company. I invite you, sir, for your presentation.
It's okay? Yeah. Yeah. I think it. Okay, okay, why not? Why not? We can do it. Don't worry, don't worry. There we go. So I can do like this and like this. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And should I start? Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Emanuele Lurie. I'm Italian and I came from Rome. We just arrived 2 days ago to stay here with you today. And so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to all of you. I will really, in a few minutes, introduce the company to who does not know the company yet, Fincantieri. In Italy, we have more than 350 shipbuilding companies, and then we have Fincantieri. Fincantieri is a leader, a worldwide leader in the production of ships and vessels, and with more than 230 years of history. So this year is 232, I guess. And we are really part of the Italian system. Means that the 30% of the company is on the stock market, the 70% of the company is owned or managed, as you prefer, from Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, that is is an holding company owned by the Ministry of Treasury, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economy. Recently, Fincantieri has, through few acquisition in the United States and acquisition in Scandinavia, we have some guests from there, I see, and we are now Americans, Americans in America, and I would say Norwegian in Norway, but maybe it's better that we are all around the world with these two entities, because we are now Fincantieri Vard, is a world leader in special vessel. And in US, we are heavily involved in some defense project for the frigates of the US Navy, together with Lockheed Martin. No, just a second, please. I went too fast. No. Sorry, dear. How to go back? How to go back? Go back. Yes, yes. Back, back, back. No, it's not the same. No, I have to go back. No, this is exactly, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry, little mistake. I did mistake. Okay, little bit of numbers just to understand that I was not lying to you. Those are numbers from 2024, and we had 8.1 billion revenues, 57 billion in total backlog. We are now we can account on 18 shipyards in 3 continents, and of course our presence is even wider. And at the very moment we have 23, 20, probably at the end of the year there will be around 27,000 employees, and the 50% in Italy. Here I show you a little bit the presence around the world of our shipyards. The presence of our shipyards, yes. You can see that there are several nodes around the world. There are 2 shipyards dedicated to, or better, sorry, 2 nations dedicated to military production, US and Italy. And then we have a huge presence of special vessel, of course, in Norway, in Brazil, in Vietnam, and commercial vessel, let's say so, yes, commercial vessel in Italy, in Vietnam, and in Romania. Okay, okay, so you're right. I go very fast. Why we can consider Fincantieri a unique story at the very moment? Because it's not only a world leader in what we do, but we are the only shipyard, or better, shipbuilding company at the very moment that is present in all the domains, in all the naval and maritime sector. Cruise, where we have the 40% of the market, defense, as I already told you, offshore, special vessel, 30% of the market, underwater means conventional and unconventional, submarines, drones, but not only, even underwater communication. The last column of the company is infrastructure. Why is so important recently, has become so important? With the infrastructure, Fincantieri is now present in the market to build from bridge to naval base to ports to airports. Why not? And this gives us a big and strong capability to manage our supply chain. For instance, in what we see in the supply and in the management of the steel, because for us steel is extremely important as a shipbuilding company, and not only the raw material, but how we get that the final product. And that's why we participate with our producers and our suppliers from the very beginning. Here, nothing that I haven't said you before is is give us a little bit of what we do in the cruise business line. Again, I repeat, the 40% of the market is owned by us. Defense, defense from petrol vessel up to aircraft carrier. Special vessel. Special vessel, we are probably the best one in cabling vessel around the world. Underwater. You know, the underwater domain at the very moment is probably even more important than space. In the last 5 years, we understood that there are two more domains, not only maritime, land, and air, but we have the space and the underwater. You can see, some of you knows about VAS for sure. VAS is a company in the production of underwater devices, including torpedoes, and recently they had a very big success here. And as I say before, our infrastructure systems that gives us an incredible advantage and opportunity to cooperate even outside the core industry, outside the core market, outside the core business. Thank you very much. Sorry if I was introducing so fast the company, but I think that even going faster is not fast enough, I think. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Mr. Lawyer, for that overview of the company. And ladies and gentlemen, Vibrant Gujarat is recognized as a platform where vision translates into execution. We now move to a highly engaging and insightful segment, a panel discussion focusing on Gujarat's emergence as a shipbuilding and marine manufacturing hub. And for this session, I would like to invite our panelists on the dais. We have with us today Captain L.K. Panda, Nautical Advisor, Government of India. We have Mr. Vipin Saxena, CEO, Swan Defense and Heavy Industries. We welcome our honorable panelists on the dais and request them to please take the seat on the dais. Mr. Anurag Gupta, General Manager, Fincantieri, and we have Mr. Sachin Kulkarni, Head Marine Business Sales, South Asia. From Vatsila. And Captain Panda, who's a retired personnel from Government of India, but we always and we have our moderator, we have Commander Gautam Nanda as our moderator for this session. Welcome you, sir. And I would like to request Shri Kalpesh Vitlani, who is also one of the panelists, to please come on the stage, and also welcome all our panelists for this session. I request Shri Kalpesh Vitlani, Chief General Manager Projects GMB, to welcome Shri Captain Retired L.K. Panda, sir. We request you to welcome Mr. Vipin Saxena. We welcome Mr. Anurag Gupta, General Manager, Fincantieri. Okay, we have Mr. Lawyer. Welcome, sir. Mr. Sachin Kulkarni. And our moderator, Commander Gautam Nanda. And I would request Captain A.K. Mishra to welcome Shri Kalpesh Bitlani, Chief General Manager Projects, GMB. General Manager, Gujarat Maritime Board. Welcome, sir, and we look forward to a very interesting session now. Over to you, Commander Gautam Nanda, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're slightly behind the schedule, so we'll try and meet the timelines as we move along. Um, Welcome to the panelists on the dais. We've had inaugural session where Honorable Prime Minister and the Chief Minister were there. Interesting discussions. We were part of those discussions. Just going back down the memory lane, I was in the Navy, and early 2000 was based out of Porbandar and Okha, sailing for Op Vijay across this coastline, and now landed up in Rajkot 25 years down the line, and it's a complete landscape, changed landscape. And kudos to the government of Gujarat for the achievement and the infra which has come up across the state in the last few years. Kutch and Saurashtra are surely coming up. Chairman Deen Dayal Port had brought out the aspects of how Kandla is looking in for being the largest ports globally. We just had a very big achievement. We had a VLCC entering Mundra a few days back, something which are unheard of when we were sailing these waters, of having a VLCC coming in. Majorly entrance to the Gulf of Kutch is where you had the ships coming in and the barges coming in down, offloading and taking them inside the tight of tide. Yes, yes. So exactly. So a lot of things happening, and why I mentioned Mundra was because Mundra was been there since inception, and yes, they were. We were never able to get a big vessel in, but they have also been able to achieve that. So a lot of strides which have been made. Major achievement which I think has happened is with the government of India coming up with these incentives. We were part of that complete journey wherein we defined the four pillars for the shipbuilding industry, starting with the shipbuilding financial assistance program, more than 60,000 odd crores being allocated to that. The second thing is a maritime development fund, which is for developing the ports. The third aspect which was looked into for was the skilling, which was brought out by Dr. Ajay on how Gujarat is also looking towards skilling the manpower. And the third thing is policy interventions, which the government of India is doing to bring up this whole ecosystem. Lot talked about China, Japan, Korea having 85% of the shipbuilding market share. Interesting fact which comes in, another one is that 70% of the orders which were placed in shipbuilding in 24-25 went to China. So there is a time for things to change and things to evolve. I think we are going down that path, and with the new policy coming out with Gujarat, it is going to be a harbinger of change in the shipbuilding industry as we move along. We have an interesting panel here. I would come to Shri Kalpesh in the last because he's a authority, a stakeholder. We'll start with the ex-senior officer who I have had the privilege of serving, Rear Admiral Saxena. Sir, where do you see Gujarat strategically integrate this whole concept which you have been talking about since morning, shipbuilding, ship repair, LNG, portless industrial cluster, and how do you think SWAN is positioned to assist the Gujarat government in taking this whole initiative forward, sir? I think we'll pass a mic, sir. Just give us a minute. Getting it.
Uh, can you
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
can you hear me? Thank you, Gautam. Very interesting context you have set in. Uh, Straightway, I'll come to the fact that for me, who has been ex-naval officer, who has seen the how the naval shipbuilding growing in this country for the last 6 decades, and entire ecosystem doing so well, and ultimately reaching to around 85+% of the indigenization in accordance with the government of India policy. I'm very happy to see thereafter the commercial shipbuilding per se is being such a huge thrust by the government itself. Last year, 2025, have been defining moment for the entire nation, where what you brought out, the four pillars have been now declared, which is bringing a lot of hope and confidence to the entire spectrum of the shipbuilding, ship repair, and of course port industry. Certainly the port led industrialization policies, etc., had been there for some time, and certainly the ports have done quite well. So there are important pillars like ports, where we have actually reasonably come to a very good level, and Chairman DPA had already brought out a lot of initiatives. So that is one strong pillar that has actually reached to a good level of maturity. The other pillars have been the shipbuilding, ship repair, and of course the entire ecosystem to support these two important things. And of course, let's not forget the offshore construction and also the heavy engineering, sir, which is very much part and parcel of the entire spectrum of the maritime sector. So very happy that, as Dr. Ajay Kumar has just brought out, that the good news was towards the end of 25, having so many interesting policies being declared. Now on by the government of Gujarat is also coming up with number of new initiatives, top of policies of what government of India has done. That is certainly going to give a lot of happiness and the support in endeavor of the nation as such and government of Gujarat. And now talking about the particular segments and the cluster per se, my opinion is that the cluster, which is supposed to be formed to aggregate the various sources, resources, suppliers, service providers, manufacturers, and of course the sort of skilled people and so many other things that is supposed to happen. But to my mind, the cluster would succeed only if it is why it is meant to be a cluster. I'm sure that a good cue has been taken from the world, especially from the Jiangsu, China, and Georgia, South Korea, where the success story, they have been very effective, efficient. If I really look at that part, we must see it holistically and have a 360-degree look, that to have the cluster formed is one part. You have just declared that there are two entities in Gujarat, that Chachi and the Kujiti, something has already been identified. They have got a good waterfront. But it is going to be greenfield, and the way the policies have come up so fast, so good, which has brought in a lot of, I would say, the confidence in the international community as such. We must evaluate in a manner where do we need to have third or fourth clusters as well, which will straightway come up, can become operational without much delay. So now I'll come to the SDHI Swan Defense, that this is the largest shipyard of the country, having a dry dock which has got the 400,000 ton DWT capacity, fourth largest in the world. And it has got a huge size. It can accommodate VLCCs for the construction, which is, I believe, is needed by a lot of other PSUs, oil PSUs, etc., for the VLCC, VLGCs. Then also this shipyard has got a huge facility of having the fabrication capacity of almost 1.5 lakh metric ton per annum. If you're targeting 0.6 million metric tons by 2030, here you have got almost 0.15 million metric tons already there. And of course, along with that, the huge amount of automation and machines, everything is available. In the terms of size, it is 650 acres of the shipyard. It's a huge shipyard. And good part is that this has got three verticals: the refit vertical, the shipbuilding vertical, and the offshore construction, co-located 750 meter long and 265 meter wide. So coming to the cluster formation, where we've got three important verticals co-located. Along with us is the APM terminal and many other industries. Bhavnagar is very close, Alang is very close. So in my opinion, we must have a closer look, more evaluation can we make, and I'm again very happy to say that GMB has already signed last year in the month of November at Bhavnagar the MOU with us, where we have agreed that 4,250 odd crores worth of the work that will be done going forward. The first one is around 3,500 crores of further development of the infrastructure in the Swan defense, augmentation of infrastructure, where it will be a lot of jetties will come up, slipway will come up, and of course the Goliath crane and so many other facility will come up. Fabrication facility will come up, which will almost double the existing capacity. Almost 250,000 odd metric tons will be the capacity in a single place. So this is, I am saying that it is going to be a good contributor in terms of the government of Gujarat ambition and our ambition to really support the shipbuilding, ship repair, and many other things. And I'm sure that with this, the cluster perhaps can come up within no time perhaps. Second thing is that now coming to the attracting the various industry to come in the cluster to set up whatever they have to set up. Unless you have a demand, the cluster actually or a shipyard like ours becomes a demand aggregator. So therefore, we should, in fact, all the shipyards in the Gujarat, whatever shipyards are there, while we are trying to create a lot of infrastructure, but this infrastructure should be utilized well. And therefore, you must see that are we in a position to create that kind of demand within the country by our own, I would say, the various major players, private and public players. I just heard that we are still looking at some international companies to come forward for VLCC or VLGC. Why? If we can make the frigates, destroyers, aircraft carriers, why can't we make the VLCC, VLGC and many other ships which are there? Maybe we have to go out and take the design support. But in terms of the various other capabilities that exist, what is lacking in this country is the ecosystem for the equipment. In a commercial shipbuilding, majority of the equipment are being outsourced, being imported from various countries. So this is one big lacuna we have, that the huge amount of thing is going out in terms of the the cost which we get from the various countries. So this is one area I think we have to develop and have to come out with some policies in terms of the equipment suppliers. Whatever equipment suppliers or manufacturers are there in government of Gujarat or in the industry within in the state itself and other places in the country, I think if they are encouraged, we will be able to meet that kind of a requirement as has been done in case of the warship building. So if that part is taken care of, the industries will come up, manufacturers will come up, the service providers will come up. We also signed the MOU with the GMB about the skill development at the cost of around 200 crores. So that is one which we are going to be establishing in the Swan Defense with the help of GMB. And third thing was also 550 crore worth of the cluster development. So these three things have already been done. I am very hopeful and sure that going forward, the Swan Defense has got a huge potential to contribute in the aspirations of the government of Gujarat, and we are looking forward for that kind of a continued support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think you've given enough food for thought for the authorities to think on. Just to give you two insights, sir. One is that there are total 5 maritime clusters which are being planned by Government of India to meet the 2047 vision. We presently have one for Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Gujarat. I think the government can look at it, how to take forward. The second interesting aspect which you brought out was on the demand part, sir. I think the basis of when we started the discussions in Government of India, and since we were involved in those discussions, one of the key things was that how do you create demand? And we took a leaf out of the book from Jones Act, which was done in the US, where they actually created the demand for the shipbuilding industry to be coming up. And I think they're going back to that playbook again. And we just took a leaf out of that book and moved on. I can see Captain Panda smiling on that. Yes. Moving on to Sachin. Sachin, I think Saxena sir brought out very interesting aspect on the thing where he said that there is a lot of ancillary industry which needs to come up in this cluster for anything to move forward to the next level and for us to meet our vision. How do you think Vatsala sees the local ecosystem and especially Gujarat in terms of being able to develop that ancillary infrastructure in India?
Good evening, first of all. Thank you, Commander Nanda, for this good question. Uh, since this shipbuilding policy or the topic has arisen, I think one word which is constantly being used is ecosystem. I think that has become real buzzword at this point of time, and rightly so. Now, when we are talking about this ecosystem, is it going to be the same for everything? I mean, we talked about 5 clusters. If I had to talk about Gujarat cluster specifically and comment on that, it's it's quite generic when we talk about the ecosystem as such. It's very important that we need to define what kind of vessels we are talking about when we're defining the ecosystem. And the reason why I'm saying so, um, when we say ships, I mean, for a layman, ship is a ship. It doesn't make much of a difference to them. But when you come to the business, when you come to the trade, we understand we are talking about different segments. Now, for an example, when we are talking about vessels like VLCCs and plus, bigger vessels or more complicated vessels, bigger vessels, container vessels, we are talking about primarily two-stroke engine as a prime mover there. Now, what kind of a ecosystem will be required for that? When we are talking about coastal merchant type of vessels, or when we are talking about offshore vessels, what kind of ecosystem will be required for that? Because the prime mover is primarily your four-stroke engines and CPP propulsion system, whereas in your ocean-going vessels, we are primarily talking about fixed pitch propellers. Again, coming back to the vessels in the domestic areas, like for example, tugs, or for that matter, dredgers, or for that matter, the offshore vessels. There, we are talking about more of electrification now. We are talking about more of hybrid configuration. We are talking about more full electric kind of installations. Now, what would be the ecosystem required for that? So it is important that as a cluster, what kind of vessel ambitions or what kind of vessels we want to construct. And I think that will determine what kind of a ecosystem we need. Point number one. Number two, once we have an idea about it, uh, he talked about the very important aspect of design. I think the questions typically get asked that when the equipment manufacturers are going to set up their base, and again, it's a very fair expectations. But before that, is it going to really bring a huge change? And I think to start with, uh, we all forget actually, very important contribution of design. I think ship design is a very, very important aspect. And in this cluster, how we develop, I mean, how many ship designers we have in the country today? If I had to just count probably 4 or 5, and what kind of domain vessels they design. So I've been to SDARI, Chinese ship design, a huge organization having the capabilities established in the different type of vessels. So when we are talking about ecosystem, it's important that we also start with design. And again, determining what kind of vessels we are going to target in this cluster, those designs, applications, or those design will come into picture. Then we move to the equipments. Now, when we are talking about equipments, uh, the demand generation, I think that's a point which has been taken earlier also. So demand generation is coming from where? Today, when we see uh, last year roughly around 80 odd vessels, export orders are being signed by the existing shipyards. Majority of them are coming from the European owners. Okay, and that is primarily for the short sea shipping. I'm not counting defense in it. I'm talking about purely commercial shipbuilding. How many Indian owners are actually building over here? So when we say demand aggregation, it is important that we need to understand from where this demand is going to come. Is it going to come from the PSU? It is going to come from the Indian owners. It's going to come from the European owners for a particular segment. Now, when we have this, it becomes really a good visibility for equipment manufacturer to see that, okay, this is the clarity, actually speaking, I would like to see before any decision is taken. Now, this is about the, let's say, business volume or the business outlook. Now, coming to the policy part of it, today, when shipyard imports anything, they don't have to pay a custom duty or any import duty. Couple of weeks back, I'm happy to share with you over here. Couple of weeks back, we shared our interest to localize our thrusters in India. I wrote a communication to the ministry as well. And one important aspect, we are realizing that it's very easy to decide, but then it's not so easy when it comes to when you face these challenges that you have to pay a custom duty and then naturally the cost goes up. Are shipyard going to consider us with the inflated cost like that? So these kind of a things, as a part of a policy, it is very important to address that how we help the equipment manufacturers to basically set up the shop in terms of making sure that such kind of costs are actually taken care. Um, and my last point, when we are looking at equipments, very important dimension from the shipyard point of view that how we de-risk them is the technical competence in the country. I think it's very, very important to understand that it is not enough to have the equipments here. It is also important to have the technical competence when in terms of field service engineers, to have the project management, to do the commissioning in India, so that the shipyards, they do not have to really depend on the foreign expertise. Wait for, we all know when the ship is constructed, from the beginning up to the trial stage, there are multiple visits are required at a multiple stage. It's become so very, very difficult that if your dependency is there from the foreign engineers. So, very important that we have the competence available in the country. And one last line from the Wärtsilä perspective, we are here for last 40 years now, and we are completely supporting the industry from the local competence perspective. And that's something which we can certainly support moving forward to this Gujarat Maritime Cluster. That is it from my end.
Thanks, Sachin. Thank you very much. Um, I think the aspects which you brought out, to some extent, we are going down that path to address skilling. As was brought out, there's already a MOU between SWAN and GMB. There's a separate fund being allocated towards IMUs getting involved, and things are happening. On the design front also, there are entities which are coming up. One of them is SEMS in Vishakhapatnam, which is looking at bringing about design innovation into the ecosystem as we move along. Yes, we have a long way to go, but we have started down that path and things will happen. Ecosystem, I think, has become very important, and that's why it's being talked about by everybody, and on the inaugural session also the same point was being discussed, because China, Japan, South Korea have gone to where they are because of the ecosystem they created. So I think it's an important aspect which we need to look in. Marine engines, totally agree, long way to go. We are still talking, one of the DPSUs I was in discussions with is looking at getting into this space of, they've been given a mandate by Government of India to look at how to manufacture marine engines. So yes, lot to do, but yes, we're going down that. Coming to you, Captain Panda, I think there is a lot which we have heard, and you wear a much larger hat and know things at a much larger perspective than probably most of us in this room. I think what I had discussions with shipbuilders in the past, and as a profession do engage with them professionally also. One thing which is coming out very loud and clear, despite whatever is happening, we are still not competitive when it comes to pricing. Do you think we've done enough? If Swan is wanting to set up something and proposing for a maritime cluster, Chachi and Kuchri are coming up as maritime cluster, do you think we'll be competitive enough? Do we need to make some changes? Do we need to do something other than what presently is happening for us to become competitive and grab that market which we are looking at?
Thank you. Thank you for extending the invitation to me to participate here. Yes, growing with the system and having served the organization for well over 25 years, I've seen the system developing. And agreed, as you said, there are problems and it will continue. However, I am very pleased to inform that after a long time, the maritime sector in general has drawn the attention of the government when we faced the problem of importing crude from Russia, neither we had tonnage, nor we had the insurance company. The Russian government was ready to give us oil, and here we had refinery, but the in-between link was missing. That is the transport unit, that is the ship. And that's where the government realized that it's high time we give importance to this sector in general, be it shipyard, be it ship, or be it ancillary industries, etc., etc. Till that date, we were only carrying 7% of our cargo on our bottom. Just imagine, 7% of the EXIM trade was on our bottom. And we are paying well over $70 billion in freight rate alone. So instead of getting the tonnage from outside, why not build it here? We have a 4,500 years of history, which the Honorable PM enlightened everyone. And this state of Gujarat is blessed with a fantastic coast of 1400 odd kilometers, I presume, and having a well over 10 to 11 shipyards. I have seen Elcock shipyard, I have seen ABG, I have seen, all the shipyards which were functioning have all phased out. Don't know why. That means there is something wrong with the policy. The demand is already there. And with the GHG initiative, as it has come out from the Lloyd's report, that well over 80% of the ships will not be meeting the CII index, the carbon intensity index. Therefore, there will be replacement of tonnage. Today, as can be verified, today if the ship is ordered, I think China is telling that come after 3 years. %, I presume, or maybe 20%, or 70 odd thousand crores as the government has allotted by the central government. Is it good enough? The time has come when a holistic approach has to be taken by the center and the state capable of producing ships, making ships. The state has to complement the initiative taken by the center. The different departments, as rightly pointed out, with pain and with anguish, the custom duties, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. The customs, the GSTs, the STs, the taxation structure, are they in one line? That means there is a need to have a cohesive policy. Mere supplementing the shipyards, be it green, brown, or any color that you may give it, shipyard, different stages of incentivization, is that good enough? It is the taxation which kills the product or the industry in general. Here the product is the ship. The skill is there, the skill set is there. It's not that. If this state or if this city can produce spare parts for Mercedes and BMWs, why it cannot produce the simple purifiers or the pumps to start with for a ship? So therefore, to say that India cannot produce the parts for a ship in that ecosystem is not correct. However, now to develop that ecosystem, pick up small unit, catch the low-hanging fruits, but has incentivization to these small MSMEs been considered by the state? Has a policy been made by the state for these small MSMEs to create that cluster as such? Therefore, I am of this opinion that similar issues are to be considered in detail. A cohesive and a complementary policy between the center and the state will have to be made. Now, just a few. Again, I'm digressing from the subject in general because the topic is on shipbuilding. While working with GMB during my after retirement, I observed a great thing that this state is producing, or this state is handling 40% of the EXIM cargo and has got about 60 odd ports, of which 35 to 40 ports are functional. And how are they functional? They are functional with 500 odd barges. And those barges are not in good shape. Now, where they will be built? So, therefore, when a state or when this subject is being dealt, it is to be dealt at a micro level and a macro level. Build up the small units, get the expertise, go for the macro level. That's all I can say. If you allow me, I can keep on saying of my 25, 30 years of experience. But at present, I am just of the opinion that a cohesive policy between the center and the state of all the department, customs, taxation, financing, till now it's painful to say that shipping has not been declared as an industry. So how do you expect the Indian ship owners to buy ships? When they get a ship, they have to pay 6% duty as an entry tax. So already the capital cost has gone up by 6%. And plus, when it is not declared as an industry, the rate of return is just not viable for the Indian ship owners to build a ship. So therefore, the orders will be from abroad. It will continue unless otherwise there is a significant policy change. I am of this opinion, pardon me for saying this, these small changes, which is good, is welcome, which has come, will help, but it may not suffice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I think you hit the nail on the head by saying a cohesive approach. I'm aware of some taxation issues which are being taken up. By DG Shipping has been given a mandate. They are looking into this whole process. It being declared an industry, I think, is a sore point, which has been brought up at not this forum, but each and every forum which I have attended with the industry or the stakeholders. So these two aspects, I think I am aware that there is something which is happening, but a cohesive approach, I totally in sync with that, would help this industry grow further. 90% of our global trade is by sea, and we need to cash on to it. There is no denying that. Coming on to you, Emmanuel, I think you've heard a lot from all of us what we think how Gujarat is. You've been there at the inaugural session. You've heard our Prime Minister speak about how we see this thing moving forward. I think you're in the same boat as Vatsala is in terms of you've supplied some tankers to us, to the Indian Navy in the past. Anis Aditya was from Fincantieri. How do you see your progress coming up in India based on what you've had, the conversations which you've had?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you once again to have me here, and I'm really honored about it, and I'm impressed from the day. So for me, this is a kind of a mini master in the situation. Thank you very much. Honestly, coming from, let's say, on the other side of the world, I see the situation. It's very exciting here. So I maybe I'm like I've been driven to see all the potential of the market here, you know, and not all the maybe the challenges or the problems. Let's say so. At the very moment, the straight, the energy that I see here in the government, in the industries, in all the stakeholders, it's really difficult to find in Europe, for instance, at the very moment. It's a fact that we are probably the oldest in terms of age, the oldest continent in the world, and you are the youngest nation in the world. So a bit of a difference, of course. Um, Going back to the ecosystem, really few words. I'm not gonna be longer because I'm quite agree with more or less the most I have heard. What we've done in Italy, what we maintain and we fight. We fight to maintain. We fight with the politics. We fight with the institutions, and they fight with us. They fight with us, not against us. You understand? And we have created the maritime or slash naval industrial district, more or less the clusters. In Italy, we have 8,000 kilometers of coastal line, more or less like India. No, we are very similar. We have 16% of our gross domestic market, gross domestic product based on manufacturing, like India, and you are young, we are not. Yeah, this is the difference. So the industrial district, we intend to create, and we done, let's say intercities, okay, like La Spezia or Naples. If you know Italy, I know you know because you've been selling. Naples, 300 kilometers south of Rome. La Spezia, 300 kilometers northern of Rome, and an entire economy based of we can call it blue economy. We have Fincantieri, for instance. Sorry if I speak about the company again. So we have the shipyards, we have the suppliers, we have the vendors, we have the clients and the end user there. So it's an old concept of the arsenal, but Arsenal 2.0, because it's not only for military reasons, but it's for commercial equipment. And so you need not only the politics of the Ministry of Defense, you need the politics of the Ministry of Industry, and they have to talk, because more commonalities you may have in the production of your first or second tires, and better is going to be for the entire economy of the region, of the city, of the region, of the country. So this is something that in Italy we have, maybe I already said, eight maritime industrial districts. In the south, in the center, in the north of Italy, in the east and in the west coast, and in the islands as well, Sicily. And the system, it works. It works because another practical example, the universities there. The University in Pisa, the University of Palermo, the University of Catania, they are heavily involved into this project that is a day-by-day project, and now they have special courses in blue economy, maritime management, and of course the classic is shipbuilding, naval engineering, of course, but. This is and I see here all the energies and all the possibility to grow up fast, which is the advantage of the situation right here and right now. The situation is that okay, we have China, South Korea, Vietnam, Europe, okay, but now India is in a situation where you may have a lot of lessons learned around you. You can choose the right one for you, and you can choose to do different. And of course, you can choose to do your own way. So, at the very moment, I really believe that something like we have done in Italy, and we are fighting to maintain in Italy, can be a good way of doing things here as well. Without, I don't want to teach to somebody how to do it, because I'm not able to do it, and especially it's not possible to do it. I think probably not even at home. So it's not a good idea to go and say do as I've done. But the example is this one. to have the stakeholders, we have an entire city like La Spezia. La Spezia without La Spezia is a very rich city in Italy. Without the blue economy, La Spezia doesn't exist. The university, it doesn't exist, more or less. So, you have really a community, an industrial community that has created, from the industrial community, you have created a social community, you have created a policy. So sometimes the legislator, no? Sometimes the politicians need the industrial guy to understand what kind of legislation, what kind of rules, he has to study, work, and apply for to create a sane circle for our business. This is, let's say, sorry, but I was coming to say something different today, but then after the day I have changed my speech.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I think if we've been able to change your thoughts, we have achieved our aim.
Thank you very much.
So I think there is a lot of similarity between Italy and India, not only in industry, the politics, but on the social front also. The family system, the ethos which we carry, it's quite similar. And you are right. We need to understand. We just got about on this journey to see globally how things are happening, whether we follow them or we do our own path. I think another interesting country which we normally look at and we are discussing at various forums, we have some Norwegian friends. We've been looking at Norway also as one of the countries which have had success in this sector. So maritime sector, yes, we are going across the globe, looking at people and figuring out which path we need to follow. And I think you've been quite clear in the paths which we should be looking at as one of our options. Thank you very much. Kalpeji, coming last to you, thank you for getting us all in this room. I think you and your team have been at it for a long time, and we've been able to gather and discuss on a topic which is core to the growth. Just to give an input that the labor multiplier for this industry is 4x, and this is known as the crown of the integrated industry, so to say. Like Satyana sir were bringing out offshore and other thing. So shipbuilding becomes the crown of industry, and if you get shipbuilding, everything else falls into place. So what we have heard in the morning, what we have heard during the discussions and my interactions with various people, Gujarat does have an ambition to emerge as India's leading shipbuilding and ship repair state, so to say. I think what we would like to understand more, since we are sitting here, is what are the core strategies or differentiators which you see in Gujarat which could lead it down that path of being the leading state in shipbuilding and ship repair?
Thank you, Commander Gautam, and good evening to all. Thank you for coming for this seminar for Gujarat Maritime Board's shipbuilding discussions. Gujarat has been progressive since beginning, as Vice Chairman and CEO GMB has brought out very well. Timeline of the policies has been introduced by the Gujarat. So Gujarat's strategy rests on the four interlinked pillars that creates a competitive maritime system. L.K. Panda sir has brought out that the policy should be cohesive. That has been brought first itself in the context setting by Dr. Ajay Kumar, VCCO GMP, that we are taking clues from the Government of India's policy. So that is the one major pillar, that progressive policy framework, taking ahead the Government of India's vision and Government of India's policy. So the shipbuilding and repair policy 2026 from GMB will provides capital assistance to the shipyards, and as well as shipbuilding, both the activities. Interest subvention is one of the factor which we have already put in place in the policy. Incentives for green and smart shipyards, that also is part of policy which we have taken into consideration. We are working towards that whatever benefits we are trying to give should be through single window, and which should prospects further enhance ease of doing business. Land and waterfront access. The total length of waterfront Gujarat offers is 2340 kilometer, and housing two Gulf of Khambhat, Gulf of Kutch. Both gives opportunities for shipbuilding industry. Is rightly pointed out earlier in the panel that there were earlier 10 shipbuilding yards in the Gujarat. Now one by one it has uh, gone somewhere in NCLT or some mistakes done by the developer, but the geography offered by Gujarat is very conducive for that, and Gujarat has identified two mega shipbuilding clusters to foster the growth of the industry. Uh, this IMSPs, we called it Integrated Mega Shipbuilding Parks, which will be offering common infrastructure by the SPV between Government of Gujarat and Government of India, that through GMB and DPA. So common infrastructure like breakwater and then turning circle, dredging will also be offered by this SPV for the purpose, so that a plug and play model can be taken, or by the developer can come and use that infrastructure very well. We are working towards strategic partnership and skill development also. The policy offers very good incentives on R&D and skill development both. So we are looking forward that developers will take benefit of this policy and do the skill building within the states, as well as do R&D also. So these are four things which we harp upon, so that policy, whatever we are bringing, will bring fruits to the Gujarat, and shipbuilding industry will again flourish in the country. And Gujarat, we would like to place Gujarat in forerunner for this shipbuilding industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalpeji. I think you rightly pointed out Gujarat has a, Dr. Ajay brought out, Lothal was one of the first places where it started. Interestingly, I did my dissertation on Khanuji Angre, and when I was studying Khanuji Angre, the boats or ships, whatever you would call them at that given point of time, which he used for raiding the British, were actually made in Gujarat. So he was based out of Khanderi, but the shipbuilding acumen came from Gujarat for him to be able to undertake those ventures which he did. I think we've had a very interesting session today. There have been some thoughts which have been put across to the stakeholders on what the industry is expecting. We've had regulators who've been passed as part of the mission of putting the shipbuilding industry forward. There's a lot happening. There's a lot which needs to happen. 69,000 crores already allocated, more in the pipeline, things to come in. I think we have reached our timeline. I don't think we have time for question answers. If okay, so I have the approval to take on some questions. Yeah, Anurag, please. Just 1 minute. Finish, come to-
Hello.
So please tell whom you would want.
No, I'm
address.
not going to ask a question.
Okay.
Originally I was supposed to be there, but I'm here. So I'll still take the opportunity just to touch upon two very quick points. I fully agree with what Mr. Kulkarni said. Um, Given the global experience, right, we are looking at how the Koreans did the job. We are looking at the Japanese. We are talking about Fincantieri, from where I am coming. It's very evident that clusters and ecosystems are the need of the day for the shipbuilding hubs to come up. Just one small suggestion for the people here. You spoke about 5 clusters being identified by the government. Instead of all these 5 competing against each other, each of the maritime boards competing against each other, you know, why don't we look at the possibility of sharing the pie to say, okay, let's look at the geography and let's have offshore vessels divided between these two between these two locations. Let's have the large vessels to be built here. Let's have something else to be built in another cluster. Why I'm saying this is I'm coming from where Mr. Kulkarni said. You have to decide what kind of ecosystem you want. You can't be jack of all trades in one location. Okay, I'm sitting in Gujarat today. I would say that Gujarat cannot be saying that I want to build everything, all types of vessels. It's going to be impossible to set up a cluster for that. It's going to be impossible. Nobody can do it. If you look at the Koreans, they didn't get into offshore, right? Koreans got into, let's say, VLCCs and container vessels and stuff like that. That's all. Right? The Chinese probably divided because they have larger number of ships, but I presume philosophy was similar. They were not competing against each other.
So China went down the same path which you're saying.
They are not competing against each
No,
other,
they are not.
right? So even if it's their own demand that is being generated within the country, let's say, to begin with, it was divided. The pie was shared. The same thing is what we are doing in Italy. The 8 clusters are not competing against each other, right? So this is one suggestion. And the second thing, very important, skilling. Again, I'm taking off from where Emmanuel Laurier left. The ecosystem needs to look at universities. And again, the universities have to be local to the area in which you are setting up the cluster. For the simple reason, you mentioned that we have a similarity between Italy and India as far as family culture is concerned. It is very clear even in India that a lot of people do not want to step out of their native states. If you're going to have universities elsewhere, you're not going to find people to come and work here in Gujarat. If you're going to have one here, they will not go to Tamil Nadu to work. I'm talking about the majority. I'm talking about from blue collar onwards, right? Not just the white collar. Not just the white collar. So, very important point that Emmanuel brought out. You have to look at universities providing you the skilled human capital for shipbuilding and the surrounding ecosystem coming from the same location. My 2 bits on this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anurag. I think in sync with both the points, clustered approach has been discussed at various forums. Just to give you some insights on whether each cluster should be, I'll just come to you. There's a question here, then I come to you. There is an approach towards that cluster approach of one cluster doing one particular thing, but I think we are going down a discovery path as of now. We will eventually land up there because the success stories have happened that way. What presently the thought process is to create something first. Yeah, I agree. I am totally in sync. Same I get to, and the second part was on the skilling. So just to give you some comfort, and to Emmanuel, Captain Panda would agree with me. There is a separate fund which is being allocated, a few tens of hundreds of crores, which is going to be coming in for skilling. We would be hearing this announcement soon, where what you have rightly said, that it is to be very localized. So that I think will be coming in. No, I'm just saying that yes, as a concept, I think it's very correct, and we are on that path. Please.
Good evening to respected dignitaries. We are both the PhD scholars and doing the research in the field of shipping industries with the AI. So I want to know from the real industry persons you are, with the revolution of Industry 5.0, which are the prospects or which are the research prospects are open in the field of research with the collaboration of shipping industries and AI, or we can say machine learning.
So I think Saxena sir, if the
Is
shipbuilder
it the
here,
sector of operational predictive maintenance or digital twin or LoRaWAN? Which are the open sectors, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will try to speak louder. Because it is Captain Panda probably when it comes to the ops part. But whether it's a commercial ship or it is the warship, the ops part and the various machineries, equipment, integration, its performance has got a lot to work with. It certainly requires, nowadays you must have heard the digital twin
Yes,
concept.
sir. Yes.
That is working very well around the world.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
But in this country, I think this is something we have to really work, like you all
True,
research scholars, as to how quickly we leapfrog and harness this technology and start doing well. That with regard to the OS part. and many other things are there in operational segment. But it comes to the shipbuilding, you know that we are lagging very badly in design. As somebody brought out that design is the biggest lacuna. If you do not have design capability in the country, you talk about any sector, whether aviation sector or shipbuilding sector, or you talk about anything, you can do nothing. So that is something which you have to really work very hard, and therefore the academia, the training, the kind of research that must go on in the design aspect, because if you have to compete with the Chinese or the Koreans or Japanese, and fantastic government policies have come up, I'm about to say that much more is to be done by us also, right? All the stakeholders. Therefore, this segment of skilling and doing the R&D and especially the design. So I would like you people to actually take on the design aspect and see to it that how we can actually inculcate the best of the practices, the SOPs in doing the designs of the ships, especially the commercial ships.
Okay,
We
sir.
are quite good now in warship building ourselves. And we have got a very good design maturity and design capability in the country. If you can do the designing of the warship, what is there in the commercial ships? Somehow it is lacking. So this is what you all can pick up and do good work in designing and bringing out the AI part. There are huge segment in the design verticals.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the huge segments are there. Time is not much. I would have probably told you all the verticals.
Yeah.
You are most welcome to come and visit us. We can probably tell you more insights as to what all you
Sure,
people
sir.
can do. So there's one area probably you can focus on instead of many other. I hope you got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
There's a gentleman in the back, please. Last question.
We can have one more
He
question
wants to
here.
add, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Since you talked about machine learning,
Yes.
coming from Vatsala, it's extremely relevant to answer this question. I think AI something is probably the most relevant even in as mechanical industry as shipping as such. If I had to give you very quick and simple applications today, what we are doing is engines, for example. How this machine learning is helping us. So there is a real-time monitoring
Yes,
as such, sitting at one location. So today, superintendent or the shipping company, ship owners can sit in the office and actually can track the real-time things. The support from the classification society is helping. For example, if there is a dry docking or the overhauling of the engine, depending on the parameters, one can take a call of postponing the overhauling as well. So it's a huge incentive or benefit. Now this is about postponing it. It can also alarm you in terms of something going wrong.
True.
It can help you to basically stop the breakdowns and heavy commercial damages. So that's a very simple application.
Yes,
You talked about digital twin. Now second thing is today you talk we all know these IMO regulations wherein existing vessel need to maintain the operational efficiency. Now, how do you look at the various energy saving devices are going to apply on a vessel? If I am having different type of vessels, 100 vessels with all different configurations, it's not easy to say that, okay, I need to change propulsion, I need to do this, I need to do that. So that's where this concept comes into the picture,
digital
wherein
twin.
we run the digital twin
Yes.
and actually simulate the all applications there and see which energy saving device would help the which type of vessels. And the last point is our voyage. So the fleet operation system, wherein you actually it tells you that which route to be taken.
True.
Thereby helping you to reduce the fuel consumption and so on and so forth. So just in summary.
Yes. Thank you so
Thanks,
much, sir.
Chacha.
Yeah.
Last question, please.
Hello. Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. My question to Mr. GMB Kamlesh Bhai, that whether these incentives are available only to the business being started at a cluster level, or it is open to the entire coastal of Gujarat?
Policy is open for all coastline. So there is nothing only for cluster. We have standalone locations also which can avail this benefits.
Fine, sir.
just in the
Benefits are higher in the cluster. That is one thing which we want to harp upon
Okay.
on clusters.
when it comes to shipbuilding, what I understand is it's not only about utilization of coastal area and the waterfront. There are so many other things involved in that. We being situated at Bhavnagar, like I heard that as Alcock was there in the past, there are so many other infrastructures available. Skill set might be available at other location. So if government open up the policy at all the levels at equal, then it helps to compete the people equally at all the level, and at the same time wherever the ecosystem is already there, now it helps to develop the business.
Policy very well address the point what you are making. It is equal for everybody. Only the things is that cluster where common infrastructure is being created. We want to create that capacity in that cluster so that it can create a whole ecosystem over there.
Correct.
What I said is clusters are more beneficial than the standalone.
I'd like to thank everybody. Thank you, Gujarat Maritime Board, for organizing this session. Some thought-provoking ideas which have been given for consideration by the government and for the industry to cooperate and take this forward. It's been my privilege to moderate this session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Commander Nanda, for moderating the session so wonderfully. And thank you to the panelists for those valuable perspectives and bringing forth some of the important aspects related to shipbuilding. Thank you. And now, as a mark of gratitude, I would request Mamta Prajapati, OSD GMB, to present a memento to our honorable dignitaries, all our panelists. Mr. Laurier. Thank you, Captain Panda, for your Mr. Vipin Saxena. We thank all our panelists, Captain L.K. Panda, Vipin Saxena, Mr. Sachin Kulkarni, our moderator, Gautam Nanda, Shri Kalpesh Vitlani, so we can have a group photo. I'll request Ajay sir and Shukla sir to please come forward and join for the group photograph. So thank you dignitaries, thank you panelists, and thank you all of you for the joining this session. Today's discussion reaffirms Gujarat's leadership in maritime development, shipbuilding and blue economy. On behalf of Government of Gujarat, Gujarat Maritime Board, I thank you all the speakers, panelists, all the participants for making this session wonderful and a success. So with this, we conclude this session. Thank you everybody once again. Have a pleasant evening and stay in Rajkot here. Thank you.